So welcome back. We have a super special guest. I love pulling special guests out when people call in, they have questions. And sometimes we like to do segments where we pull out customers, clients, the general public that want to dial into the show here and ask their questions. Sometimes we like to pull them out live just so you guys can see face to face and see who people are. Now, today we've got a gentleman from Washington. Washington? You're right, Washington. His name is James Chapman. James, hello. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Sam. How's it going, guys?
It's going good, man. You had a couple questions for myself or the team here. Let's go ahead and fire away. Grill us, my man.
All right, cool. Hey, first of all, I love your show. I love what you're doing here. It's unique and awesome and really, really good info, so I appreciate that. Hey, my question for you guys is really about the current election cycle and the volatility in the markets that kind of can accompany the political candidates. What do you kind of foresee over the next 100 days as we approach the election, and how that's gonna either impact portfolios or to the good or to the negative?
Yeah, that's a great question, James. In fact, we kind of mentioned this last week I believe it was last week on the show. Let's get Pat. You want to answer that to James?
Well, James, obviously up till now it's been wow. Between these two candidates, I don't remember in my lifetime having a full board of candidates that people were so unhappy with. The trust factor with Trump, the surprise factor. I think down the line, Hillary, obviously, we know some things about Hillary that are beneficial for banks, financials. Down the line, regardless of what she says in her speeches, we know her track record with these big financial institutions. As we get closer to the election, these polls and these actions by them will have more influence. Right now, they're not having a whole lot of influence on the market. And there's just big uncertainty. You've got big stories about Trump maybe dropping out. It's just been a publicity stunt. You've got a lot of things going on. You've still got this email thing with Hillary coming up. Every time she starts to get a little bit of a lead in the polls, that email comes back up. It's just very, very chaotic right now. And I think over the next 100 days, probably within the next 30 to 60 days, I think you'll see some semblance to this. Either Trump is going to tone it down and start acting like a real presidential candidate, or I think you'll see Hillary really start to open up a lead. So as far as how that's going to affect the markets, until we get a little bit, maybe about a month or two out of the election, I think it's basically the market's going to be valued on economic reports, on decisions by the Fed. But as we get closer to that election, then we'll start to see some volatility created by the polls. How that'll go, like I said, the next 30 to 60 days will really tell us how that final section is going to go.
And we're, James, just so you know, we're on top of it. Like we got Patrick and the entire investment team monitoring that on a regular basis.
Absolutely.
Tuning into CNBC and all the stations to find out what the latest gossip is. Because let's face it, so much of this is sensationalization and
it is.
Made up stories about Trump dropping out and all this stuff. But this is a great question, James, because it directly affects stock market prices, oil prices. It has a real effect to that.
To give you an example, Samuel and James, a few days ago we had a big Bank of England report, and I opened up the CNBC app. There was one article about the Bank of England's decision on the bottom. There were 9 articles about Hillary and Trump, and not one of them was any useful information. But that's the hysteria and the mania that these two candidates are creating.
So this is why it's important to really weed out through all the media stuff to find out what's really going on. And James, that's such a good question that you asked, and I know a lot of our viewers really have similar questions. Now, so that great question, man, really good question.
And if I may, just one more thing about this.
Yeah, go
ahead.
Sorry.
Right now what we're trying to do is we're trying to stay away from the clickbait articles. We're trying to stay away from the hysteria. And we're watching their speeches to get a feel for what they actually say. And we're watching some of the more reputable polls. Otherwise, we're trying to keep all that other noise out of our decision making right now, because it's really created mass hysteria. It's actually kind of fun. I don't remember an election being this fun in a long, long time.
Anyway, good question, James. You had another question for us?
Well, I was just thinking, in times like these, there's usually a lot of opportunity out there, and so as we get closer to the election date, I'm assuming that within you guys, your decision-making protocol and processes, you see some big opportunities on the horizon.
Oh man, absolutely. I mean, it's interesting about your question, James, is that it's almost a daily opportunity that we see with different announcements, with different shufflings, with the Russia stuff going on, with North Korea, with China, with what's happening with oil. I mean, so much stuff happens on a daily basis that, you as the individual investor, it's overwhelming almost for most
really
everyone.
Can be. It really can be overwhelming.
And this is exactly why, James, great question, but this is exactly why we felt the need to build an investment team, to look at all these different segments of the economy, the world, the media, what's happening that is going to directly affect stocks and our portfolios and really our wealth, because there's a play in any direction. So when Yellen says something stupid that scares the world, we know how to play something to make our portfolios skyrocket. And when Trump says something brilliant, if that ever happens, right? So the point is, we know how to leverage these different things. Not that I'm against Trump, by the way. It's just that both of these candidates say and do things that directly affect the market, as you mentioned in your previous question.
And as Samuel said, we don't endorse either candidate, but it's really, if we're honest about it, Trump has turned this into his own reality show, and Hillary is just on her same MO, which is a lot of the pandering, a lot of the promises, and avoiding the press.
Yeah, good question, James. Good question.
That was a great question.
Hey guys, thanks for taking my call. I appreciate it. Love the show, and keep rocking.
You bet, man. Hey, thank you, James, for tuning in. If you have any questions, or look, if you want a free review with myself, Patrick, and the team here, now is the time. I mean, I think we still are offering it for free, as I recall. I mean, it's 197 value, which I think we're turning up to 497 value.
And it's no obligation. And
look, this is really important, you guys. I mean, this is your wealth. And if you are not on top of it as stringently and diligently as we are here at Financial Reboot, which I assure you 99.9% of you aren't, you need to get that review. You must come in, get this review with our team, sign up. You'll see it right here on the screen. Text the word review to 760-254-0003, and let's get that review. Because the point is, I believe in windows of opportunity. And these windows of opportunity are slowly or rapidly passing you by. And there's so much opportunity in the stock market right now with volatility.
Now there's a huge opportunity.
Because volatility is a great thing for the stock market. So if you pay attention to volatility and you see what direction things are going, guys, there's huge leverage and profits to be made by leveraging opportunity, right?
Absolutely.
So if you don't have an investment team, use us. Text the word review, get your review in, and we will take care of you like family. We're going to go to the next segment. Guys, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.